on any one of our subjects, please call 1-800-405-6425. I will be sitting here waiting for that phone to light up and speak to someone. Um, also, um, recently in the news, we all been kind of forced to watch because it's everywhere. Is the whole situation going on with Chris Brown and Rihanna? Well, I have to say alleged situation. Um, it's not officially innocent until proven guilty. But that just kind of goes into our next subject, which is domestic violence. Um, I, once again, I'm against domestic violence, just like I'm against drunk driving. I'm a product of a domestic violence home. I'm not sure how to officially say that, but yeah, I'm a product of a home that had domestic violence in it. Um, I don't feel that it greatly affected me negatively, but it taught me what not to do in a relationship, whether it be just a girlfriend or married or whatnot. Um, but I do feel like because when you get into hard times as we are in financially, the rate of domestic violence does go up. Um, the way someone explained it to me before once when I was younger was when you're in times like these and you're working a job that you don't want to work, but there's not a lot of opportunities in the workforce. You're working a job that you can't stand under a boss that you can't stand and you can't talk back to. You're constantly being beaten down and whatever by the boss that you have at work. So you have no control at work. So when you get home, you're taking all of this anger out on your girlfriend, your wife, just your significant other. That's pretty much how I was explaining when I was younger, and it made sense when I was younger, and it still makes sense now as an adult because um, we all get frustrated out in the world doing our daily um, routine, our day-to-day activities, and when you get home, that's the one place that you can kind of feel like you can be yourself. But when you're in a relationship, it's not even. I'm not gonna say that it's women's fault at all. It's never an okay thing for domestic violence, but we all know how naggy the girlfriend can be. So when you've already been in your job, whatever, and you're frustrated or whatever, all it takes is one thing to set you off. When you are set off, go take a walk, count to 10, take a cold shower. I'm sure there's lots and lots of solutions. Paint a picture. Call your mom. Call your grandmother. Make a postcard. Make a scrapbook. Do anything but the wrong thing, which would be committing any kind of domestic violence. Getting into some of these stats, approximately 1.3 million women and 835,000 men are physically assaulted by an intimate partner annually in the United States. That's a really good stat because when you think of domestic violence, you don't often think about about the women abusing men because I mean it just doesn't cross your mind at all. You always think of the bigger man and the meek girlfriend, but there's plenty of situations or relationships out there where the woman is dominating the boyfriend and very abusive both verbally and physically. Probably mainly physically, but at the end of the day, like you're still breaking someone down. Their how they feel. You're still tearing that person's whole core being down. So you should think about that. Like as you're listening to this, evaluate how you treat your significant other. Like, are you treating them the best that you can? Are you giving them like ask them how the day is, and like thoroughly listen. Let them get all the stress, um, their stress. Let them get everything off of their chest that they need to get off, and that'll ease some things. Instead of them sitting there tense, waiting for a reason to do something bad. So we all need to be conscious of each other's feelings and just there, because you never know what happens to somebody when they're not around you, and they might not always be the person to talk about it. So we should always kind of be conscious of our significant other's well-being as I should say. Getting back into some of these stats, intimate partner violence made up 20% of all non-fatal violent crime experienced by women in 2001. That's kind of an older stat. I'm sure if we look at it now, it'll be a little bit higher, just pretty much based off of us being in this economic downpour that we are in. That's another thing, that if you are in a relationship and it has gotten violent at least once, I would say it's a good idea to go ahead and get out of that relationship. If not that, then maybe counseling. But I don't know. If it happens once, then chances are that it'll happen again. The classic excuse is always, I'll never do it again. But I'm sure you'll hear that excuse again at some point. Because I mean, there was never a reason for it to happen in the first place. So I mean, if there's not going to be any kind of counseling, I would suggest just go ahead and exiting that relationship. Don't sit there and put any kind of blame on yourself, like, oh, I made her or him mad, or something to that effect. Don't ever like sit there and say like this is possibly my fault, because it's never any kind of there's never a good reason at all. But once again, these stats will be up on the MySpace, which is myspace.com/bestcoastradio, along with the podcast of this show. Get into another stat. Intimate partners committed 3% of non-fatal violence against men. So just to let you know that it does get violent with women on men, and it's not always how do you say? It's not slapping around like as it is like if you would picture it. It's usually like something like heavy is picked up in the process. There's usually some kind of other object involved. So don't ever. That's another thing. Don't underestimate your girlfriend either. If you want to, if that's the case. Wait, is that a caller? Is that I see a light flashing. So if I push number 1, no. Oh, see, I got all excited, thought I had a caller, and my heart got a little fluttered, and oh man. But yeah, getting back to our stats. Let's see. Access to firearm yields a more than 5-fold increase in risk of intimate partner homicide. When considering other factors of abuse, according to a recent study suggesting that abusers who possess guns tend to inflict the most severe abuse on their partners. I can believe that, because I feel that if you have a gun, that, I mean, chances are you're going to use it. What's the point of it just being there? But I don't know. That's just my opinion. We'll get into gun safety at a different time. Once again, my name is C.Versy. We are live on Best Coast Radio, and we'll continue with these subjects after another commercial break. Best Coast Radio, ladies and gentlemen. Second episode ever. I feel a lot better about this one. And we'll be back.